How to provide a verified server certificate for remote desktop (RDP) connections to Windows 10. We have a Windows 10 Pro machine at our office which has an open port to the internet for incoming remote desktop connections, a host. It is well protected by complex password and limited number of permitted attempts and only TLS 1.1 or higher, but it doesn't present an externally verified SSL certificate, only the self-generated self-signed one that remote desktop services provides, and this gives us two problems. We cannot be fully confident when connecting remotely we really are connecting to this machine and not some hijacked connection. Our site fails PSI DSS 3.1 compliance check, required because we use their point-of-sale debit credit card machine that connects via internet. The check reports fatal errors on this internet-facing remote desktop port, SSL self-signed certificate and SSL certificate with wrong hostname. How do I get a Windows 10 Pro or Windows 7 8.1 Pro machine acting as server host to present a proper SSL certificate for remote desktop verification?
You can set this host machine to use and present your existing, externally verified SSL certificate. Thus, instructions probably also work for Windows 8 and 8.1, may or may not work for Windows 7, parts of this based on a Microsoft KB 2001849. First, you need to have a genuine verified SSL certificate, whether one you purchased or a free one from e.g. Let's Encrypt. If you have this certificate in PKCS12 format file, e.g. PFX extension, you can view SHA-1 fingerprint using Linux or Cygwin. Thus, you will need it below. Alternatively, if you have the individual certificate files in your Linux server at /etc/ssl /etc/ssl/mysite.ca bundle and you can create PFX file and obtain SHA-1 fingerprint. Thus, create PFX file for your certificate if you don't already have one. Here, mysite.pfx, set a good password when requested. Move or copy this PFX file as required so that it is accessible by your Windows host machine. View SHA-1 fingerprint of the key, you will need this below. OPencil X509 in .crt NAP fingerprint. Import PKCS12 format, e.g. PFX, file into Windows host machine's personal certificates store. Start run MMC, file add remove snap-in certificates add computer account local computer OK. In the left-hand window right-click on certificates, local computer, personal, choose all tasks /import, locate the PFX file and import it. I suggest that for security reasons you don't make it exportable. Expanding your personal /certificates, you should now see 3 certificates, one of which is your site certificate, e.g. example.com. Right-click on this site certificate and right-click, choose all tasks /manage private keys. Add user network service with read permission only, not full control, then apply, close MMC. Use regedit to add a new binary value called certificatesha1 hash at hkey_local_machine /system /current control sit /control /terminal server /winstations /RDP TCP. The value it needs is the SHA-1 fingerprint of the certificate obtained above. Right-click on the new value, choose modify and then type in the hex codes sequentially, without colons or spaces or commas. Letters are not case sensitive. There are 20 hex pairs in all, 40 characters. You may need to reboot the host machine or restart remote desktop services from services.msc before it will work. Now, after making a remote desktop connection to this host using the correct site name, e.g. example.com, you should see a locked padlock on the left-hand side of the top connection bar. Clicking on this shows that the identity of the remote computer was verified. A port that is open from the internet through to this host should now pass PCI DSS 3.1 hostname testing.
Here are the basic steps I use. Get a valid certificate that for the host, it doesn't have to come from an external CA, but all your machines have to trust it. Make sure it has the correct host name. I had problems with wildcard certs. Install the cert on the host, like. Find the thumbprint for the cert, either in the UI or in PowerShell. Now tell Remote Desktop to use that certificate. No reboot required.
My cert comes with two files needed, domain.crt and domain.ca bundle, and then I have my domain.key from generating the request. Here is how I set it up using a Linux VM to combine the certs and generate the fingerprint, and Windows CMD to set up the host. This allows full scripting of setup. The biggest differences between mine and at GoGoutAnswer are: I don't edit the registry. I tried that and it didn't work. I use mix/namespace column via CMD prompt. I tailored the fingerprint a line on the Linux VM to strip all unnecessary parts of the thumbprint and put it in the format Windows wants. i.e., no colons, no words, just the fingerprint W/lowercase letters, dot. I also scripted adding network service permissions. Make a directory to work in and move the 3 files into it. Create PFX format key. Export ssl-certificate /1# to txt file. Import cert to Windows, open elevated CMD prompt. This can be further scripted via the switch p-mypassword. Now add ssl-certificate /1# to RDP TCP via CMD, elevated CMD prompt. You will need to add the user and network service w/read-only permissions now. Reboot host.
If you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.